Dispatch to Unit 33.
This afternoon, we have 33 Pennsylvanians who have tested positive for COVID-19.
So as of this morning, there were 33 confirmed cases in North Carolina.
There are now 33 confirmed cases of the coronavirus in Michigan.
Bringing the total number now to 33.
Is the latest coronavirus news. There are now 33 cases in Louisiana.
Welcome back. My name is Renee, and this is Highly Motivated, a channel where we check out different things that I find interesting, and hopefully you will too. Today, we're going to be talking about the number 33, and we will be checking out a video from a channel called See Through the Script. If you have never heard of them, go over and check them out. They have so much fantastic content. But without further ado, let's get into the video.
Dispatch to Unit 33.
This afternoon, we have 33 Pennsylvanians who have tested positive for COVID-19.
So as of this morning, there were 33 confirmed cases in North Carolina.
There are now 33 confirmed cases of the coronavirus in Michigan.
Bringing the total number now to 33.
Is the latest coronavirus news. There are now 33 cases in Louisiana.
As expected, the number of cases of COVID-19 jumps. A total of 33 people in our state have been tested and are confirmed to have the coronavirus.
Yesterday we had 22 cases. Today we have 33 cases, so it has gone up by 11. That brings, those are 11 new cases. 22 goes to 33.
Big James, 33 chains.
They love that number. I mean, do we think this is a coincidence that all those news channels used the number 33 and then Cuomo just repeated it, you know? Just gonna repeat that it's 33.
33. This new Glock got 33.
I don't know if his music's copyright, so let's
to
forward.
Jesus Christ, dying at the age of 33 and 33 AD. Ultimately, I don't claim to know the true meaning of this number. As I've stated in previous videos, numbers have multiple meanings, but it's very interesting to observe the context in which it's shown or used. But first things first, let's understand the meaning of the number 3, as it will give us further foundation to speak on the number 33. When someone thinks of the number 3, there are many things that may come to one's mind, such as the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, or one might think of the moon, the sun, and the stars. Or how about Freemasonry and the 3 pillars representing wisdom, strength, and beauty? Or the 3 branches of government, legislative, executive, judicial. Or others may think of the family dynamic, a mother plus a father equals a child. Some of
Solid liquid gas.
you might tap in and think about your third eye, or just think about how the word God consists of 3 letters. And on the topic of God and religion, reading from the King James Bible, Genesis, verses 1 through 3, it goes on to state, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light, and there was light." Notice it was on the 3rd verse where God provided the light. Notice the words light and the word 3 written out are a 4-for-4 match in the.
And now, if you are not familiar with these numbers, this is the practice of gematria, and that is turning letters into numbers and finding encoded messages within
base cipher. The numerical connection only further implies the hidden relationship between numbers and words in the numerical coding throughout Scripture. In short, the number 3 is very significant, and knowing that, we can now dive a little deeper into the number 33, which is the first rep digit of the number 3. So let's start with the human body. Whether you believe in a creator or not, it's undoubtable our anatomy is something that is beyond unfathomable. Yes, modern science has made tons of discoveries, and we have learned a lot over the years, but there are many things that doctors and scientists still find themselves stumped on today. For example, scientists have a general understanding of why humans have fingerprints, but the exact reason is still not fully understood. Fingerprints are formed during fetal development, and they are unique to each individual. Surely there is a reason for this uniqueness, but again, the answer remains unknown. Now, in regards to the number 33 in our bodies, the spine is composed of 33 bones, called vertebrae, which stack together to form the spinal canal. This protects the spinal cord inside. The spine is one of the most important parts of your body. Without it, you cannot keep yourself upright or even stand up. It gives your body structure and support. It allows you to move about freely and to bend with flexibility. And this reminds me, if you're watching this video right now and your posture is slouched or you're hunched over, make sure to fix that. Keep yourself healthy. 33 is also considered a master number, alongside the numbers 11 and 22. The number 33 is widely considered to be the master teacher number. Some say that this number is about a spiritual uplifting of all of mankind. It's believed by some that people born with 33 numerology bear wisdom and that it's beneficial to one's personal growth. Personally, I'm not here to tell you that's the case if you do have 33 birth numerology, but hey, if it makes you feel better, go and run with it. However, let's discuss what scholars have widely debated for many years regarding the age of Jesus Christ upon his passing. Some speculate he was between the ages of 33 to 39 years old. However, oftentimes articles will draw back to the number 33. In 1611, under the guidance of King James I of England, published the King James Bible, or King James Version. This translation had marked influence on English literary style and was generally accepted as the standard English Bible from the mid-17th to the early 20th century.
Now, the King James Bible that is from back then is considered today the 1611 King James Version, and it is still to this day one of the most accurate versions, and it still contains the apocryphal texts.
Many popular phrases and idioms still used in the modern day hold their origins in the King James Bible, such as "how the mighty are fallen" and "no new thing under the sun," and tons more. But notice, in gematria, using the full reduction cipher, Lord Jesus equals 33. Again, according to many theologians, Jesus was crucified on April 3rd at the age of 33 in 33 AD. Also, we often hear within the Bible that Jesus is the Son of God. For example, Matthew chapter 14 verse 33, "Then they that were in the ship came and worshipped him, saying, Of a truth, thou art the Son of God." Notice the word son in gematria equals 33. Please keep this in mind as we go along. Now, the day scholars say Jesus was crucified is written as 4/3. And notice, Jesus Christ in gematria equals 43. Also notice April 3rd is the 93rd day of the year. The word crucifix equals 93. But they also have documented that he was hung on the cross for about 6 hours, between the hours of 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Think about that 9 and 3 connection there. Oh, and according to trusty old NASA, the sun is about 93 million miles away from Earth. But that isn't to be confused with the word son. As you remember, Jesus is referred to as the Son of God. Reading from John chapter 8 verse 12, King James Version, "Then spake Jesus again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life." It is said that Jesus, being the sun, brings the light to the world. Remember, the word sun equals 33. And this should also make one think about the physical sun and how it shines its light on us every day. Note that the word sun equals 330 in the Latin cipher. With the rules of numerology, zeros don't apply. We're left with 33.
Right.
Think about how the heliocentric model, which is the idea that the sun is at the center of the solar system and the
How do you all feel about the heliocentric model? Are you of the camp that believes that we are on like a plane with a dome, like a firmament? Or do you believe in the heliocentric model?
The planets orbit around it, just like how Jesus is the center of God-fearing Christians' lives, which goes into how the day of worship for most Christians and Catholics, depending on your denomination, is Sunday, which happens to equal 33 in gematria, along with the word Bible. Ultimately, the more one looks into the relationship between the Son of God and the physical sun, you might find yourself thinking about the concept of sun worship. This may lead you down the rabbit hole which discusses the idea that Jesus was not the physical man many believe he was, but rather a metaphor or an expression of another entity from an ancient Iranian religion.
We have to remember that if we are getting these numbers based off of the English language, that none of the words for Jesus were originally English. Jesus's name wasn't really, it was, what was it, Yeshua or Yahuwah HaMashiach? And so English was actually originally created as to put spells on us. It's an occult language, and that's why instead of right to left like original Hebrew, it's left to right. Everything, it's upside down and backwards, just like our society. And so the gematria of the words that were created by the occult or the English language is all occult, and that would make sense that they would put those codes in there and make those names. They try to be like God, because what's God? Omnipresent, omnipotent, in everything, layers. Satan wants nothing more than to be just like God, and that's why he was the scientist. He was, a literal scientist. He knew genetics, computers. I'm not sure why it's not a more popular opinion that AI is definitely fallen angel technology. But let's keep moving.
So let's quickly compare the similarities between Mithra and Jesus Christ. But first, who is Mithra? Mithra is a deity in ancient Persian religion, later adopted in Zoroastrianism, also known as the sun god, or god of contracts in Mithraism, a mystery religion that was popular among the Roman army. He was often depicted as a young man with a Phrygian cap, holding a torch and a dagger, and his cult involved rituals such as Mithraic mysteries. There are some similarities between the figure of Mithra and the depiction of Jesus Christ in Christianity. Both were considered to be savior figures who offered salvation and redemption to their followers. Both were also associated with light and the sun, with Mithra being a sun god and Jesus being called the light of the world. Both figures were also associated with a Last Supper and a resurrection. Additionally, the cult of Mithraism was popular among Roman soldiers, while Christianity was initially popular among the lower classes. Both religions spread widely throughout the Roman Empire. I say all this to point out how in gematria, the name Mithra equals 33, just like Lord Jesus. Mithraism is believed to have originated in the eastern regions of the Roman Empire, and was likely influenced by Persian and Zoroastrian beliefs. The earliest known references to Mithraism date back to the 1st century and continued through the 4th century CE. Christianity, on the other hand, emerged in the 1st century AD in the region of Palestine, and the origins of the religion can be traced.
And I don't like how they changed it to BCE, because our entire timekeeping system is based on the birth of Jesus.
Back to the teachings of Jesus of Nazareth. Notice the words Christian and Mithraism have a 2-for-2 match in the reduction ciphers, and Jesus Christ and Mithras, spelt the Roman way, are almost a perfect match, except they're just mere numerical reflections. This, of course, on top of the similarities between the two religions stated before. Surrounding religion, let me share a list of other words that hold the value of 33. This way, it might help you along your journey researching the importance of this number. Now, with that said, Let's carry on. Earlier, I mentioned the number 33 in association with Freemasonry. Well, what does this number mean to them, and why is it so important? I am sure most of you have seen this image before, displaying the 33 steps or degrees. Well, within Freemasonry, achieving the 33rd degree is far from easy. In short, the 33rd degree is a supreme honor bestowed only on those who have demonstrated outstanding service to the Brotherhood, as well as professional and personal accomplishments. It is granted solely by the Supreme Council. Note, this very likely consists of many rituals, from initiation rituals, secret handshakes, reenactment rituals, and even rituals involving the sun and the moon. But many remain a secret till this day. And when speaking about Freemasonry, you can't go without mentioning Albert Pike, the 33rd degree Freemason, who was an American attorney, soldier, and writer. He was the Grand Commander of the Scottish Rite Southern Jurisdiction from 1859 till his death in 1891. He is best known for his book, Morals and Dogma of the Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, which is still widely read within the fraternity. He is also considered one of the most influential figures in the history of Freemasonry. What's interesting is that in gematria, the practice of coding numbers into letters, which comes from Kabbalah, which Albert Pike drew much reference to through his work, notice when you spell out
Kabbalah is Jewish mysticism.
the short version of that book titled Morals and Dogma, it equals 137. Now this matters because the number 137 is the 33rd prime number. As we know, the 33rd degree is the highest rank. Here's where the relevance of gematria comes into play even further. Notice words like order, secrecy, and masonry all equal 33. Freemasons often say that they are not a secret society, but rather a society with secrets. And in relation to the word order, the phrase Ordo Ab Chao is the motto of the 33rd degree Freemason.
And a lot of people who are Freemasons do not want to admit, or are low level and don't understand, that in the highest levels they admittedly worship Lucifer. And it used to be that you were not allowed to be in the Catholic Church, like a priest in the Vatican, if you were a Freemason. But that has changed, and in the highest levels of the church, they are Freemasons and Jesuits simultaneously. They are connected, all of them, with Lucifer being at the top. And the English language, Lucifer had a hand in creating. He is the father of lies. And I do believe that fallen angels and those who were with him, Lucifer, they have deceived many, many people and nations of people. And people have itching ears. And if something sounds good, they like to believe it. So, but there really is only one truth, and it is Jesus Christ. But remember, Jesus Christ's name back then wasn't Jesus Christ. They say it was Yeshua HaMashiach. And so those numbers fit when you use those words, but even in English, Jesus Christ is the only name that has power. And so there's something to that.
Which translates to order from chaos, something we can all see playing out in our modern world.
I hate to pause it again, but God is chaos and order, and Satan brings order out of chaos.
From events like 9/11 to COVID-19, all the chaos that's come from said events has established some form of new order.
Right.
However, we discussed the number 33 in regards to the human body, specifically the spine, and how it's composed of 33 vertebrae. We know that the spine is the foundation of our body that gives us the ability to stand upright. Well, the Freemasons played a significant role in the planning and construction of Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States, in the late 1700s.
The United States was actually a nation built to normalize the occult.
many of the key figures involved in the design and construction of the city.
And guess what? George Washington was technically not even our first president. Weird, right? I don't know if that's like a Mandela effect, but I was reading and there were like, I think 4 before him or something.
Such as George Washington, Pierre Charles L'Enfant, James Hoban, and Benjamin Latrobe were Freemasons. I bring this up because, for one, Washington, D.C. in gematria equals 137, alongside the word government, which we know is the 33rd prime number, and it is home to the House of the Temple, which serves as the headquarters of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. And as you can see, this building is comprised of 33 columns, each 33 feet high, honoring the 33 degrees of the Scottish Rite. Even the address of the building has a nod to the 33.
And they do these things on purpose because God has his fingerprint on everything, right? It even says Yahweh, YHVH, in our DNA, okay? And so Lucifer wants to be just like God, and so they try to put their little codes into everything and be their version of omnipresent, which they can never actually be.
It's located on 1733 16th Street, Northwest, Washington, D.C. Could it be that the spine and its connection to the number 33 is symbolically represented through a pillar in this case? I mean, a pillar is a structure that stands upright in support of a home or a building, just like our spine, which keeps our human bodies upright.
Wow, and they have Joaquin
Just something to
and
think
Boaz, those pillars.
Worth mentioning, when talking about Washington, D.C. and the 33 connection, words like federal, judicial, order, they all equal 33. Now, there are many examples throughout history that I could use to point out how the number 33 was seemingly used ritualistically. However, for the sake of time, let's just touch on a few of them. First, let's start with a controversial example, where the number 33 seemed to hold relevance. In 1933 through 1945, the Nazi Party grew into a mass movement and ruled Germany through totalitarian means under the leadership of Adolf Hitler. In 1933, there was the official secret police of Nazi Germany and in German-occupied Europe, commonly referred to as Gestapo. Note, the word police equals 33. Again, they were
and we call them the Gestapo.
founded in 1933. It goes without saying, one of the biggest takeaways from that whole period of time was none other than the which equals 33.
And you can take any large event and put it into a gematria calendar or calculator, and you will find the hidden codes everywhere. They're there for 9/11. They were there for George Floyd. And generally, if there was an entire script written ahead of time and everything fits, all the numbers fit, that means what? That it was a psyop and planned.
I must mention that the Catholic Church played a crucial role during the time of Germany's reign. In 1933, a treaty was negotiated between the Vatican and the emergent Nazi Germany. This treaty, to Hitler's dictatorship, offered much desired recognition from a foreign state, and hence legitimacy. For the Church, it seemed to promise that it could carry out its spiritual mission in Germany without government harassment. Now, truly there's a lot more to touch on with that topic alone and tons of holes within the story. However, on that topic in particular, I'll leave you with the fact that the phrase false flag equals 33.
Of course.
But next, let's talk about the death of the first Catholic United States president, John F. Kennedy, who died on November 22nd of 1963. Note that the date numerology of his death, 11 plus 22 equals 33, and his surname Kennedy also equals 33. Plus, he died in Dealey Plaza, named after the 33rd degree Freemason George Bannerman Dealey. Many speculate the legitimacy.
And anybody who thinks that it's just like coincidence, all these numbers just line up, it's just coincidence. Don't read anything into it. You're just, put your tinfoil hat away. The people want to defend their programming so hard, and they have no I mean, do they just not want to admit that they've been lied to? I'm not sure what it is, but
of this whole event, which is completely understandable. JFK was the Catholic president that, despite inevitably helping the church during those times reduce the prejudice that people had against the Catholics in the United States, the entity that was the church and JFK didn't always see eye to eye. Many believe JFK's speech on April 27th of 1961 was what sealed his faith, as he had openly discussed the idea of secret societies hiding information from the public, the manipulation of media by these entities, and much more. This being the opposite of what the Catholics and the Vatican.
Now, I know a lot of people would like to think that he was warning everyone, but they also have people that their job is to tell people what's going on while pretending to be against it, controlled opposition. And it's quite possible that he could have been that, because anybody who is in a highly political family, I mean, can you really trust them?
Would want a Catholic president to do. Again, I'm well aware that people feel that JFK was an agent himself. Either way, like most things I've brought up in this video, it's probably best to leave that for another video, and we can dive more into that then. Moving on, let's talk about the 33-day Pope. Pope John Paul I was often known as the Smiling Pope. However, after being appointed the head of the Roman Catholic Church on August 26th of 1978, he mysteriously died 33 days later of a supposed heart attack on September 28th. If you search up what happened to him, there are different accounts of what went down, but the Vatican states that he was found dead by 2 nuns. And it's worth noting, his real name is
Albino Luciani.
Note that his last name, Luciani, holds the value of 33 in the most pure cipher. Mind you, he was also born in the month of October, the only month.
Now, there are a lot of different ciphers. There's like the English ordinal, there's even a satanic cipher. And typically they don't stick to just one. They use whichever one fits, right? They even change people's birthdays when they became famous. Andrew Tate used to have an entirely different birthday, and when he got really popular, it all of a sudden changed on Wikipedia. And the only reason they do that is because it fits better with the storyline, numbers-wise, that they have, predetermined for that particular character.
That holds the value of 33. Don't forget that he was the head of the Catholic Church, both words that start with the letter C, the third letter of our alphabet, meaning CC is 33. Ultimately, his death will likely remain a secret, and that's fitting as we've discussed the word secrecy equals 33. So as you can see so far, the number 33 has tons of examples throughout history where the number has been embedded in the story. But with all that said, let's jump all the way into our modern times and discuss the biggest 33 ritual of 2023 so far, the story of Damar Hamlin. On January 2nd of 2023, the Buffalo Bills faced off against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Now, January 2nd, 2023, that's 223. And we know that 223 stands for the Skull and Bones.
Only a few minutes into starting.
So this year is bound to be a wild year because it is the Skull and Bones year. So that is why all these things are happening.
In the game, player number 3 on the Buffalo Bills, Damar Hamlin, is supposedly hit so hard that it led him to suffer from cardiac arrest, as the media had told us. Earlier in this video, we discussed the importance of the number 3, and this whole event had the number 3 and 33 all throughout it. First, notice this game was on January 2nd, 1/2. 1 + 2 = 3. Next, Damar Hamlin wears the jersey number 3, and he so happened to change his jersey number less than 3 days before the season opener. He had collapsed on the field while his team had 3 points on the board. On January 3rd, after his collapse, the media broke the headline that his toy drive fundraiser raised $3 million in donations. When Damar Hamlin woke up, which was 3 days after his collapse, he spoke just 3 weeks.
And another thing, when stories like this happen, you can take the headlines, and if you can take little pieces of the headlines and pop them into a gematria calendar or calculator, and the numbers will line up. So even the news stories that are put out have encoded language, and this is how the elite speak to each other and let each other know that, hey, this was a false flag, this is who planned it, because the numbers will match up.
Words, which were, "Did we win?" We can also see the image of his teammates kneeling around him on the field. However, the only player that remained standing was player number 33, who goes by the name Neil. Coincidence? I think not. Worth mentioning, the surname Hamlin also equals 33. Ultimately, this was a massive energy harvesting ritual and is still being...
And because of where it happened, every single person in that arena, their energy was literally harvested to strengthen that particular spell.
Discussed today, as people believe he has been cloned, or they are providing us with a stunt double and the real Damar Hamlin is actually dead from the you-know-what. Now, this theory came about since his supposed appearance back at the stadium, where he was seen flashing occult hand signs such as the 666 hands and the double threes, aka 33. He was wearing a mask and sunglasses and just ultimately hiding his face. And mind you, they made merchandise pretty much immediately after this whole event, capitalizing.
Right, because they had this whole thing planned out to begin with. I mean, it could be that Damar Hamlin did die, they made a clone, or they have somebody in a mask or a robot. The problem is once you know that you're being lied to and that there are plans and psyops, pretty much your imagination is the limit as to what they could be doing, because you don't really know, and all you can do is speculate and look at evidence that, there is available. And we live in a wild world. Truth is always stranger than fiction.
On the ritual with the number 3 on it. So you got people walking around with the ritualistic number on their front or back end of their shirt. Now, the third degree of Freemasonry is considered the Master Mason, and the ritualistic kneeling that took place after this collapse bears similarity to the Freemasonic ritual where Masons would take a knee at prayer around the grave of Hiram Abiff, the widow's son. The legend of Hiram, the widow's son, is the foundation of Freemasonry's ritual.
Does that not look exactly to the picture of them on the field?
Holistic drama of the third or master's degree. The story of Hiram is so well known and has been referred to in Masonic writings frequently. Mind you, Hiram Abiff was the master and chief architect at the building of King Solomon's temple. King Solomon's father was King David. King David ruled Jerusalem for 33 years, which can be confirmed in the 1 Kings chapter 2, verse 11. Ultimately, this was...
And Solomon's temple was built by, I believe, 72 demons, I think he had under his control. And even him being the wisest man to ever live was deceived through his wife. And just like Adam in Eden was deceived how? Through his wife. The man alone cannot be deceived by the devil. Generally, it's a female that brings him there.
The massive Freemasonic ritual to kick off the year of 2023. Note, Masonic equals 223 in the Latin cipher. This occurred on the second day of the 223 year. But moving on from that, I want to discuss a few more things briefly around the number 33. On my video, Stop Worshipping Celebrities, I very briefly talked about the number 33 and its usage within Hollywood entertainment. I shared this list of words, which I'll share again, and notice all the 33s and how they all relate to each other. Ultimately, Hollywood entertainment is one of the most effective tools for mind control. From films, music, TV, and books, they all strongly dictate how people think and shape our personalities. It's no doubt these things would be coded accordingly. Another form of entertainment that people tend to overconsume is none other than PORN. Can't even say the word. Notice that PORNO equals 33.
Also, we don't realize that wearing the outfits, a lot of the outfits that women wear, showing as much skin as we show, is technically pornography. Like, we should not be showing our bodies to the extent that has become normalized.
Inside the word sex, desire, and even the word gay. We all know the amount of damage this industry has done to our society and the impact it has on the minds of men and women. Aside from that, I mean, this video could go on and on, pointing out historical figures, entertainers, politicians, religious figures that have had some sort of 33 ritual within their lives. Whether they died at the age of 33, served as the Pope for 33 days, died on a date with 33, numerology, it really goes on and on. But hopefully by now you understand just a bit more about the relevance of the number 33 and why it is so important and used so frequently. The number tends to symbolize power, wisdom, and bears much spiritual significance, but it also seems to be riddled throughout news and history as a hint that we are witnessing a psyop, aka a psychological operation. I mean, I provide all this information for you to make your own conclusion. I don't want to control how you think, and neither should you, the viewer, rely on another person for that. But anyways, stay vigilant, folks. The world's a crazy place. That's the end of my video. You guys know the drill. Be sure to smash the hell out of that like button for me. Drop your boy a comment. Drop some more gems.
That was See Through the Script. I really hope you enjoyed that deep dive into the number 33. And if you haven't heard about gematria, feel free to do some more research. There are a lot of videos here on YouTube that go deep into other situations and celebrities, celebrity deaths, and it's quite interesting that there are always a series of numbers that match up, and they are primarily part of rituals, and the numbers help strengthen the spell. And I know that there are people who don't think that any of this is real, and I implore you to don't take my word for it. Disprove me. And I hope you enjoyed that video. Until next time, stay highly motivated.